I think the three most important qualities in a teacher are knowledge, enthusiasm, and patience. Knowledge is perhaps the most obvious quality, but it only goes so far. If the lesson material is dull and the tutor is unenthused, then a student is far less likely to be engaged. On the other hand, if students are engaged in a subject, they are more prone to succeed. Likewise, patience is essential because not all students will instantly grasp a concept, and even the best students will occasionally make mistakes, as we all do. And I really believe that this should be encouraged as part of the learning process. If a teacher is short-tempered in situations like this, where a student doesn't instantly grasp material, or it might take them longer than others to understand something, then the student will feel discouraged from sharing their ideas and perhaps even develop anxiety around asking or answering questions. So this is something that we really want to avoid, and I think patience is the way to go about that. In terms of my best experiences and biggest challenge in teaching, I would say that I'm lucky enough to have had many great experiences with teaching. I think especially when there's a clear rapport between the tutor and the student. And I can give an example of a student who I taught when she was 14 how to read Sartre's Existentialism as Humanism. And this was based on a request that she had sent me. She had previously tried to read the book and just couldn't quite understand it and grasp the concepts, which were, for her age group, of course, quite advanced. But we worked through the text together and she ended up understanding it, and not just understanding it, but being able to integrate concepts that she'd learnt in the book through our studying it together into further pieces of work, essays, debates, competitions at school, and this kind of thing. So that was a really rewarding experience through teaching. Other great experiences I've had include hearing students talk excitedly about a book or an essay or an article that they've read and enjoyed, particularly if I've set it for them for homework and they previously weren't acquainted with the work. That's a really great experience that I've taken from teaching. And alongside that, when students report back that I've helped them with their self-esteem or confidence in the classroom, that has really been a great thing to hear as well. I'd say that in terms of challenges, I think it's been challenging sometimes when we're going through a debate that perhaps they've been set in school and the conversation veers into something a bit more political, and I'll have to try and move it back into more neutral territory to focus on English, so that I'm making sure that I'm never putting my positionality into the classroom. And this has worked in the past, it hasn't been a real issue, but I would say that it's been one of the challenges occasionally that have arisen. I've also taught students with complex learning difficulties, despite not having had prior training, and that has been probably the most difficult part of teaching, but again, not something that has been insurmountable. And in terms of why I got into teaching and what else I do for work, I'm a full-time PhD candidate in English at the University of Cambridge, so that's my full-time work. I've always been interested in teaching as a career due to my love of literature and my real desire to share this with others. I've often been told that I'm encouraging and supportive and skilled at explaining things, so this also really fed into my desire to become a teacher. Since I'm doing a PhD in English, this is also part of my broader plan to become a university professor in the subject.